Filmed on a mobile phone, it seems to show a taxi driver helping 3 teenagers off on holiday, carrying bags with Western logos. These new pictures of the Bethnal Green girls actually shows them being smuggled on their way to Syria. It's an incredible insight into their journey. Obtained by a Turkish broadcaster, it apparently shows a man described as a Western spy. He's since been arrested, telling the authorities he was paid by the Islamic State. The schoolgirls have joined at least 60 other young women from Britain who have run away to Syria. Channel 4 News has studied their social media messages to see how the promised dream of building a new society compares with the reality of life once they get there.
Having children, being in love, but actually it's far from that, where they are not allowed out, where they are open to abuse, and their dreams are shattered.
16-year-old twins Salma and Zara Halan were both promising A-grade students who ran away from their Manchester home last summer. This is their Twitter page. We've learnt that they were initially separated when they arrived in Raqqa. Both were married off to jihadi fighters and then both widowed at the age of just 17. Zara's husband was a fighter from Coventry. Many girls celebrate what they describe as their husband's martyrdom, and widows gain a certain status.
But the propaganda does state there's a strong emphasis upon playing that domestic role, being a good wife, being a good mother, raising the next generation, because this is a society that's going to need to grow if it's going to sustain itself.
When their husbands go off to fight, the women tweet about being left for months or weeks at a time, and about what happens to them once they're widowed, some hinting at the difficulties. It's almost impossible for them to remain single. And their own descriptions of their day-to-day lives resembles that of a 1950s housewife. They describe having to live without electricity and learning to wash their clothes by hand. Women aren't permitted to fight under the Islamic State, but they are given self-defence training. Channel 4 News previously gained rare access to a British woman married to a jihadi. Although the security services have focused on the radicalisation of men and the threat that they may pose, there's an increasing concern about the violent tendencies of women. We've seen messages in which the girls glorify beheadings, praise the Paris attacks and show their support for Jihadi John, recently outed as a London computer graduate.
We shouldn't be surprised that these women are just as likely to be radicalised as the men. They're just as likely to be violent online. And whilst they're not violent in the way that they are not permitted to engage in combat, part of the violence online may come from a frustration against that rule.
Many of these British girls have become prolific online recruiters, helping to spread the propaganda message. And yet many are just teenagers, too young, their families believe, to know what really lies ahead.